was blind, but now I can see.
Yeah, calisthenics number 12. Yeah. Fly robotics. Bifocals, my only purpose is to feed the locals. I'm spreading love when I see you and gotta approach you. I see the goodness in you, I wouldn't John Wick you. I know you hustling for your family just to pay the fiscal. I see the God up in you, He bless your physical. While we navigating problems, the world is abysmal. Skip the one up, let's get it to the center. Your house is big as mine, we can always help each other. Affirmation smother, it ain't even cost me a dime to uplift my brother.
Yeah. Welcome back. Here we go. Vulnerability is the new sexy. Listen, we got a conversation tonight, long time coming. How to make a black man feel seen. It's tough out here in the real world. Demands so much from us. And how often do we really truly feel value beyond what we actually provide? And I'm excited today to have this conversation with my three brothers, Mike, Walter, and Q. And we're going to get into what it really means to be seen, why so many black men suffer in silence, and what needs to change in our relationships and our communities, and then within ourselves, so we can stop, suffering in silence. Fellas, before we dive in, man, I got to ask y'all a question, man. I'm going to start with you, Mike. On a scale from 1 to 10, man, how seen do you actually feel in your personal life? And say why if you can.
Right now, man, currently I feel like I'm at like an 8.
Okay.
Simply because I have expressed to those close to my circle of people I love, those I trust, how I feel. It's just been, I've opened up to them, and they've been willing to listen to what I had to say, and so I kind of explain, how I've been feeling and stuff, and so they very receptive to it, and I feel like they see me now that I've opened up and welcomed them in. So it kind of opened up the doors for that. So I feel very seen right now.
Amazing, man. Amazing. Before I go to you, Walt, man, let me ask the people out there in the chat, man. If put in a scale on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you feel seen in your personal life on a scale of 1 to 10? Mike say 8. So that's because through his communication. Walter, what about you, bro?
Hey man, I'm gonna say that's a strong number at 8.
Yeah.
It's a strong number.
I'm gonna put it at about a 6.
Yeah.
And I just want to make a differentiation that being seen and being supported are two different things, right? So I do feel supported, but I think, the seen part is not necessarily everybody's fault that they don't see what they should see sometimes. Now, I'm sure we'll dive into that in this conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's definitely something we gotta put a pin in that one, man. That opened up some questions for me already. Q, what about you, brother?
Yeah, I'm like in between there. I'm gonna say about 6 to 7. Like me and my wife, we've been going through a smaller turmoil, but she's starting to open up and listen a little more. So I'm probably like at a 7.
Okay. You ain't nervous. Y'all ain't nervous answering this question, are you?
Nah, bro.
I nervous. Why
They
nervous?
gonna see it. They know what it is.
Oh man, somebody agree with you, Mike.
That's what's up.
8, man, we got some. Okay, I might have the wrong audience tonight, man. Y'all might be able to counsel me tonight, man. I'm about at a 5 or 6. You know what I mean? I'm about at a 5 or 6, and I don't put that totally on the people in my life. That has a lot to do with me, and sometimes the unwillingness to speak out about the things that I'm dealing with. So, I put some of that blame on myself. But let's start with the way Black men are valued in society, man, just out in the open. We talking a lot about how we look or feel in our personal lives, but, we're often praised for output and how much we work, how much we earn, how much we provide. If you look online, that seems to be what it's all about, how much of a bag you bringing in, how good are you putting that thing down. What happens when we feel like our worth is only tied to what we produce, man? That's what I'm talking about, man. Brothers, and it's really not a society thing. I'm not out here looking for society to change, I'm looking at how we value ourselves because we have internalized this feeling that our value is totally tied to what we can produce. So, Mike, man, I'm breaking my cardinal rule of podcasting by starting with Mike.
Man,
I know you got some real feelings about this, man. So, when did you first realize that your value as a man was based on what you can do and not who you were?
early on, man, when my folks got divorced, it's like at that point I became like the man of the house per se, you know. So I kind of understood what was going on. It made me mature before my years, you know, that kind of thing. But I knew early on, man, that how I uh, conducted myself or whatever kind of justified the judgment or decision on how people see me, that type of thing. So yeah,
Right.
I learned that early on.
All right. Q, what about you, man? When did you learn that your value as man was based on your output?
Man, it was probably more later for me. Probably around the time where me and my wife started talking about marriage, and not to say that that's the only way she valued me, but I just knew that I had to step my game up with everything. Excuse me, and I couldn't be that little 21, 22-year-old that was just willy-nilly and irresponsible with the stuff I did. Like I was wild, bro. Like I was completely wild. So later in life, when I started getting into deep conversations with my wife, I started figuring out like, okay, not per se her, but that's the value of a man. Like provide, protect, you know.
For sure. For sure. Well, what about you, bro? I know you got some strong feelings about this too.
I, I probably learned that early on. I think I had examples that I could see before it actually affected me. I could see my uncles. I could see, and I saw why people called them high value men, and it was because they took great care of their families, which in this reality costs money, right? You got to have money to be able to do that, or you got to be an earner. So, I had the privilege of coming up in a family that has a very, very strong. The men have a very strong work ethic, and I paid attention growing up to that. But I did see early on that, man. I used to wonder as a kid, if my uncle wasn't doing this, that, and the other thing, would my auntie really be that? You know what I'm saying? Supportive of him in his life, and I couldn't find an answer for that.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's a crazy thing to say, man. You say early on in life, well, what would you think you were about?
Preteen, man, probably 11, 12 years old.
That's crazy, man. As I'm with you, man. I didn't figure it out till later on in life. I was already married. I immediately got married. Instant family situation. But like a year into my marriage is my first biological son was born, and that's when I started realizing. I think I got laid off right at that time. Like at the
Mm,
same time as he was coming into the world, I got laid off, and that's when it kind of started. I started telling myself that my value wasn't tied to anything other than what I could possibly do. And I sunk
right.
into depression immediately. Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's what it all. I had 100 different reasons to be depressed before that, but none of them really got to me until that moment right there, man. And that's how it affected my mental health. I look back on it. I don't know if I realized it at the time, but looking back on it, I can see that it affected my mental health. It affected my relationship with my wife because honestly, I don't know if we even really had any arguments or communication issues before that. And but when I started to feel differently about my sense of self, you know what I mean. That's when it came to, man. But I'm always getting to talk to y'all, man. I forget I want to play a video to start this thing, but I'm
All
gonna
right.
play it real quick and I'll come back on the other side, and I want y'all to talk about how the realization of realizing your value was tied to your output, how it affected your mental health, either in the moment or over the long term. Let me play this video though.
even if you have what you need as a man, you can still get to that level of irritability, stress, depression, because you're working so hard to maintain it.
Right.
And God forbid you with someone that doesn't appreciate it. Oh my Lord Jesus. I don't know how men be with partners that's like, oh, this is your job. You're supposed to be doing this. No, hell no. One of the things that Naeem and I do all the time is we thank each other for the things that we are supposed to do. Makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
These are things that, yes, we do, and we're supposed to do these things, but we still want to be praised for it. It's less about the thank you, and it's more about, damn, you actually saw that. You felt that. You appreciated that. You saw me.
Right. So that kind of goes into what I was just saying. And I'm going to ask you, Q, man, do you feel like that realization had any type of impact on your mental health, either in the moment or over time, as you've kind of gone through your marriage and had your kids and whatnot?
Yeah, I think so. Because like with me personally, like my wife was very supportive starting out, or I mean, still is, but starting out, like, you know, I'm trying to do music and stuff. So like I work a part-time job, you know what I'm saying? Or I'll, you know, not commit to a job, like as far as a career goes, working on her career, but me working on my music. And she was very supportive and still is to this day. Like, so yeah, that realization that you know, she appreciate my work ethic and everything I do was a big thing for me. You know, my confidence already super high. I was wilding out, you know what I'm saying? But she brought me to a level where I still could have that confidence and know that I could trust her with, you know, me feeling like, excuse me, I'm being seen because of the support that she showed me early on, and not being like, oh, that music ain't gonna work, find a plan B. Like, she was never on that with me, you know?
Right.
So yeah.
So you put all the pressure on yourself is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Talk well about my mom.
What about you, Mike?
Man, honestly, I didn't start feeling like I wasn't appreciated or wasn't seen until I got married. And it wasn't from my wife, it was from my kids. Simply because my wife had been married before, you know, and she had two girls previously. And so I knew how her ex-husband was. I knew how, they wasn't dad wasn't present in the girls' lives, that kind of thing. So I'm like, here I am, I'm married to mother, you know what I'm saying? I'm taking y'all in as mine, working my ass off, doing what I'm supposed to do, providing, all this and that type of stuff. I'm being this person that I want y'all to look up to, and I didn't feel like they were welcoming me in to their hearts and to their lives because they was calling me Mike. And that really bothered me, I felt unappreciated by them. I didn't feel seen by my kids because by them not calling me daddy or whatever, I feel like I was being disrespected and wasn't being appreciated for what I was doing. So that added a whole lot of like tension in the house between me and my wife, simply because I wanted that form of affection, or I just wanted to be called that because I feel like I was assuming that role and I wasn't getting that back. So I wasn't getting that love back.
How you feel about that now in hindsight, looking at it now?
Stupid, immature. I was a grown up in a situation. They were kids. Kids go through a lot when families merge. They're hearing stuff from their dad, in their ear saying, you my child, you're not that, you're not his kid, or whatever the case may be. And I was putting unexpected expectations on them that the kids they didn't know how to handle that. They didn't know how to process that. So now that I see the wrong in my errors, I feel terrible about that, and apologize to the girls about that. That was just my insecurities eating me up, and it really didn't have anything to do with them. So
yeah. I thought that was important to circle back to.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so that you gain a different perspective over time.
Man, circle back After counseling, had a very grown up conversation because the girls are grown now.
Mhm.
Apologized for what I did, and we just had like a grown up conversation. I wasn't talking to them as if they were kids. We were having a real grown up, mature conversation about it.
Yes,
And I
sir.
apologized for the way that I made them feel and what I did. How I conducted myself when they were
Yes.
young, and now we have the absolute best relationships. So,
Yeah,
and they call me daddy now.
for sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
it gotta be tough.
Well,
Yeah.
man, what about you, man? Any long-term or short-term effects on your mental health, realizing that you had to carry some of this output?
Hey man, I think it just makes me go harder my whole life, or has made me go harder.
Hmm.
I'm gonna bring up the same uncle, man. I always looked at him in my mind's eye as like a superhero. He was like Superman because working was his happy, right? And like I'm on the outside looking in and watching this, and I knew like he wasn't working because he was obligated to, or because the act of working and knowing that this is what takes care of my family, it made him go, right? Like, and it was obvious. So, having examples like that, it made me want to live up to what I saw him as, and then I never thought I could, but I tried. I
Yeah.
tried to be the Superman that I thought he was in the same ways, as far as just taking the best possible care of my family, my loved ones. Um, but I think the juxtaposition of the positive aspects of that versus what I knew to be negative aspects, like at an early age, that what, if tomorrow he couldn't do what he was doing anymore, the landscape of the family would look a lot different. The attitudes in the family would look a lot different. And so recognizing that, I think I've carried that around with me for my whole adult life. And
Right.
now I'm getting to a place where my perspective of it is changing, but it's still with me. It's definitely still with me.
So that makes me ask. We are putting a lot. I mean, uh, of this has been hurled upon the women in our lives. When we talk about feeling unseen and unheard and asking them to do certain things, it makes me wonder how much of this mindset was thrust upon us by other men. You know what I mean? What effect do we as black men reinforce this mindset with each other? And if so, I mean, should we be doing that? Let me ask you. I'm gonna start with you, Walter, since you were just talking about your uncle.
I think so. I think we definitely influence one another. I think that is amplified with young and old generations. Like I speaking about my uncle.
Hmm.
I think because I looked up to him, and because he was my elder, and I had a different brand of respect for him, that his influence was a bit stronger than say yours or Mike's or Q's on me or my life, right? Even
Right,
at this point, I'm 49 years old, and my uncle's opinion is still important to me. Like
right.
today.
Yeah, 100%,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%. What you think about that, Q? You think?
Same way. Like, I feel like, like I got an uncle the same way. Like my mom only had one brother, so like he was pretty much my dad, because my father wasn't in my life, but he instilled that work ethic, man. Like he played sports, softball, so he instilled that work ethic, and that's the same way I do my sons. Like they see me go hard every day, and they want to do it because of that influence. And not to say we're doing it for anybody else but ourselves, but you know, I feel like a man should have some type of work ethic.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, work ethic for sure, for sure. I'm more thinking about like the mindset. If you have work ethic but you're not producing, should your value take a hit? That's kind of what I'm thinking about. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? So I'm wondering, do we reinforce that mindset on each other? What you think, Mike?
Yeah, man. My just like the fellas, my dad went there, so my uncle was my role model, man. And
Mhm.
he straight up told me, no beating around the bush. Say, hey, when you get older, you have your own family. You are judged by how well you take care of your family. Point blank. He said nothing else matters. Take care of your family. That's how you're going to be judged. And that's all I knew. And that's the mindset that I had all these years, you know. So, and it's to a certain extent, I still think the same way, but not to the extreme like I used to. So now that I've learned stuff for myself. So
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. I found it interesting, Mike's verbiage just now, as far as he said, he used the word judge. And I think we put too much weight sometimes subconsciously on what other people think, because it really doesn't matter. And I think we all do it. I just picked up on that because I feel like I'm bad with that. And I say I don't care what people think, but really and truly, I do. We all
I mean,
do.
you're
and
lying if you
and it
say you
affects us.
don't. You're not being honest with
Sure.
yourself. You say you don't.
Sure.
Right. Because one of the worst things you could do to a man is call him lazy or something like that. Like
True
that's
story.
gonna be like, I really don't care because I know I'm not. But even you thinking that is gonna throw me all the way off.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I'm gonna say, man, I never had no, my father wasn't there either, and I had my uncles too, but they never. I guess one of my uncles did kind of reinforce some of the same stuff y'all did, man. You got to work, you got to have output. But he never to the point where I felt like it was impacting me in a real way, because when I was younger, I didn't look at myself like a laborer. He was a laborer. You know what I mean? He was a roofer. I'm looking at him like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. So if I'm going to do some output, it's going to be another way. I'm going to be, Marcus Graham or somebody in this office getting money like that. But I think what had the most impact on me was my mother, who was the primary breadwinner in our home, but she was always upset. You know what I mean? She was always mad. She was oftentimes crying. I remember her one time saying that because she made good money. She worked on an assembly line at the Ford plant. So she was a laborer too, you know what I mean? But she was like, I'm making all this money. I can't afford the stuff that I want. So me hearing that kind of stuff over and over again, I think sunk into me in a different way. So when I got old, my wife to this day has never said, I need you to do this, or I need you to go out and produce this. She's never once put that type of pressure on me, regardless of where I've been in my economic situation. But whenever she says something about needing something or lacking something, or has any type of stress over a bill that's not paid, I immediately take it personal.
Yeah.
She has said nothing to attack me or made me feel less than, but I immediately take it personal, man.
Sure.
So I'm as I'm listening to y'all, I'm processing where did I get this from, bro? Where did I even get the fact that I feel this way?
I think it's just coded in our DNA, man, as black men. Like if it feel like for us, if we not doing, more than a bare minimum, then we're definitely gonna, like Mike said, we're gonna get judged by, that. And I think it's just encoded in our DNA to take that personal.
Yeah, I mean, especially you think about black men, just you just watch social media, TV, or whatever, bro. Nowhere in society are we allowed to just be like you know what I'm saying, like certain other races of men, especially white men. We're not allowed to. You got to be getting to the money, man. Like that's what we see, and we justify all types of ridiculous behavior just to get to the money. Like we put that over being human sometimes. You know what I mean? We put that over being human. It's like whatever you got to do to get this money, you do it. You work, you grind. You do whatever you got to do, no matter what the cost. You know what I mean? And that's to me, looking at it right now, sitting back, it's hard for me to. I know it's insane, but even still, I feel like, yeah, you still got to grind. You know what I mean?
Right, no question. Right.
So, man, I'm gonna play one more video, man, and I'm gonna talk to you on the other side. I want to talk about the emotional disregard that sometimes we feel as men.
Women in general become a victim in relationships. I've been in relationships where I was a victim every single time there was something wrong with a man. A man could say one thing and I'm like, well, you did. Remember when you 6 months ago said da 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 da? And that's how I used to be programmed to be. It is so important as a woman, if you want to have a sustainable relationship with a man, to regard his feelings. We disregard men's feelings so much, and it's so foul to a man because he no longer can express himself. He can't tell you how he's feeling. He cannot literally be in a relationship where he can actually approach you and say, yo, this happened. I feel this type of way, because the first thing we're going to do is be like, well, what did you do last week? Did you take your shoes? Did you?
Well, that's fine.
And we do not apologize.
Uh-oh. He stepped in, and now we talking about the only emotions that we are allowed to feel is anger, or we can go silent. That's it. Because if we show any type of sadness or oh my God, we can't show no fear. You know, are you afraid? You better toughen up. So, so I'm talking about the emotional disregard, man. Like, have you ever felt, Q? Have you ever felt like emotionally disregarded or dismissed?
Absolutely. And like I said, like, we still growing. So sometimes still to this day I feel like that. And I feel like it's because as men, we don't understand sometimes how women, like, if they can't feel the emotion that we're feeling, like, they disregard it. So how, like, back in the day, you might come over your grandma crib for something to eat or whatever, and you like, hey, what grandpa at? And she like, oh, he over there, he'll be all right. Like, it's a whole disregard of how he felt at that moment. Probably won't even say nothing, but they'll disregard the whole feeling that he got. And then as a man, it makes us be like, well, if you're gonna think I'm weak for it, I'm definitely not gonna tell you, And so when it comes to that, it's like, yeah, you feel disregarded, but sometimes we gotta realize, I think we talked about this before, about how sometimes we don't express our emotions in a correct manner. So, us being mostly with logic, and women is just mostly drawn off their emotions. Sometimes they can't understand that emotion if they not feeling it too. So then they'll try, and then they get deeper into the emotion when ours was probably surface level at the least, and so they can't really feel it. So yeah, they'll disregard it, like, well, you will be all right tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%, man. You feel like, Walter, you feel like you've been in conversations where somebody is listening just to respond instead of just to really, like, understand what you're saying, so you can kind of get these feelings across?
Hey man, the video was a trigger. It was a trigger. It was a trigger, man. Like, whoo, man. Yo, yeah, that's you know, this has been a point of contention in my house, in my marriage, because I speak up, and that in itself becomes a problem, because just like the young lady said in the video, this is the way that a lot of our women are, unfortunately. I didn't say it, she did. Okay. So I personally deal with that. I deal with that, and I do my best to navigate it, but man, it gets tedious.
Yeah, for sure, man. Angry Mike, man, formerly known as Angry Mike. How did emotional suppression work out for you back in the day, man?
Man, it was off the chain, bro. But you know what, man? As I matured, just in these last few years, I've come to realize that a lot of times when I was flying off the handle and shit like that, man, and was feeling disregarded, it was because my own little pride had been hurt. Just being honest about it, it really wasn't about what nobody else was doing. It's just I had put too much on my plate and couldn't do it effectively,
Yeah,
and felt like I was being called out for it. And, that was my way of lashing out. But, there has been times when family members, they get to a level, they get so used to you doing it for them so much, and then when you try to pull back, that's when the problems start. That's when I feel like, you know, my feelings like thrown to the side, because um, in a way they feel like you abandon them because you trying to make them stand up on their own 2 feet now instead of doing everything for them the way that you have been. So those type situations I still struggle with that today with certain family members. You know what I'm saying? But me and my wife, man, like I said, over the years, a lot of that was just me not, like you said, not knowing how to express what I was feeling, keeping everybody's problems on the inside because I was dealing with everybody's stuff and didn't know how to release it the right way, and just giving my wife enough credit to be able to handle the shit that I was going through. I didn't give her enough credit throughout the years. You know, didn't think she could handle it, and I didn't give her the opportunity to see if she could. So, yeah, I've tried to mature a little bit over the last few years. So that all it's different now.
Some of it I wonder is, man, honestly, just not really being rewarded in a real way early in relationships. So you just
Or in
develop.
a way that we feel like we should be.
That
Yeah.
part. That part.
Yeah.
Like, I told
Because
you the truth.
that's the part that get lost in translation. Because a lot of times our wives want to they want to do it their way, right? And I heard a quote from a lady. She was talking about the love languages and how just because you know your man's or your woman's love language don't mean that's the only language that you're supposed to speak to them in.
Oh,
And I
man.
think we lose sight of that. And I think, I know from personal experience, my wife, like we clash there sometimes because I'm like, no, I'm telling you, right? And it's not that she's not trying, she's trying her way, right? She's trying what she thinks I want to see. And I'm like, but I'm telling you, this thing, And so
Mhm.
that kind of gets lost, I think, because, and I can't speak for women because I don't know, but it appears to me, being a man, that this is a place that women tend to exert a masculine energy. It's the place where it feels like something they can control.
What place you
And
mean? What do you mean?
Expressing emotions.
That's what you meant? Expressing
yeah,
emotion. Yeah.
I mean, doing the seeing us in the way that they want to, as
Yeah.
opposed to the way that we ask them to.
Right. So that's what I mean. Like, I feel like, when I say honesty isn't rewarding, man, and sometimes it's not only rewarded, it can be punished. So it's like, instead of, hey, look, I'm afraid, or I'm really sad about the situation, and I'm being told, you know, man up, or just, hey, look, we got to get through it, or you'll be all right, you know,
Oh, oh,
you'll be all right, you know what I mean? Just suck it
oh.
up. So we just shut down, man, and then we start when you start asking us if we okay, you start getting them surface level answers. I'm good. I'm straight. I'm straight. Don't worry about
Yep.
it. I'm
I'm
gonna be
Don't
all
good.
worry
right.
about it.
Don't say nothing for 3 or 4 days. But yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm good. Meanwhile, man, you falling apart, brother. You
Yeah.
falling all the way apart, man. You know what I mean? And what does it come out? It comes out in the only way that we know how to express emotions for the most part. It comes out in anger and over something stupid, man.
Yep.
Why you got the forks on the left side, damn it? You know what I mean? Just stupid stuff, man. We really
True
too bad
story.
the fact that you don't know when it's, you don't know if you're gonna get paid on time for this job you did, and and you worried about it. You know what I mean? So sometimes I feel like we gotta allow for space, to be honest. And then, like the lady was saying in the video, man, that man, you gotta open up space for you to have conversation when it's time for you to have a conversation, and for your partner to have conversation when it's time to have a conversation. It ain't always time to do both. It ain't always time to do both. I don't need you to try to defend yourself or feel like I'm attacking you because I'm talking about a certain thing and it makes you feel away. I understand it makes you feel away, but I really need you to take in what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
take in what I'm saying, because I'm really trying to. If I'm a good man, you know what I mean. I know some people try to gaslight their women, and that's not the kind of man I'm talking about. I'm kind of talking about the man that's really just trying to express himself, and talk about his feelings in a real way, not the one that's trying to gaslight you and make you think you did something wrong, or it's something you need to do in order to make them feel better about himself. That's not what I'm talking about. Yeah. Go one more video, man. Let me go one more video, man.
One of the greatest crimes perpetuated against black men specifically is the level to which their humanity and their hearts have been devalued, diminished, and dehumanized, and that they have become doing machines. The greatest value a black man has, in many instances, is what he can do for somebody. Right. And how he can do it and how much he can do it and how much he earns doing it. I mean, I hear it and see it among young people in the relationships, oh, you're going to get my nails done and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. Right. They've been demeaned and devalued and dehearted to the point where they value themselves based on what they can do. Fix it, get it, make it happen. And no place have I seen in our world does anybody tell black men how to be with themselves, how to be true to themselves, how to be with their feelings, how to be with their heart, and it's criminal. So what happens is then they begin to do the things that are expected of them, and that's how they're evaluated. And then if they can't do that anymore, whether it's the job or pay the mortgage or whatever, then they're just cast off like socks in the corner. Right. One of the greatest kryptonites for a man in general, black men specifically, is the feeling, the belief, the treatment that he is somehow inadequate. And when you devalue a man, he's going to feel inadequate. When you dehumanize him, when you deheart him, so then where does he go with that? Right. He's inadequate and he doesn't serve a purpose because he can't do what you need him to do to make you feel better about yourself.
What's the purpose? What's the point?
What's the point? And that's why we have these incredible rises in suicide. Where in the world do we see them lifted, honored? I don't want to say respected. And here's what I hear in the back of my mind. So let me just go ahead and deal with it. Black women saying, well, look what they do. And look how they are. And look what they do. And we unwittingly participate in the emasculation, the dehumanization, the devaluation, and the disheartening of black men because they didn't do it the way we wanted them to do it. Mothers, wives, girlfriends, sisters.
Let me be clear about something, man. I'm not here to attack the black woman today. I'm more about lifting the brothers up and figuring out what are some of the key factors that are leading to depression and anxiety amongst black men, so we can turn it around. And if women want to be a part of that, then that's a welcoming thing, because I really want us to be a part of lifting up the black women as much as I want them to be a part of lifting us up. But Mike, man, let me ask you, man, what do you think, man, from your experience, are some of the key factors that lead to like depression and anxiety in a black man?
Not feeling able, not feeling like we can perform like we used to when we was younger. That affects pride, everything, man. And that's a discussion that I can have with my wife a million times, and I tell her, I say, you just don't understand it. No, it's just one of those things that I can't explain. I can't put it into words, but that's a touchy topic. So not feeling like you can perform like you did when you was younger, and when you're finally, like me, I've always been a problem solver, fix it for everybody. So I've never had the mindset that, hey, if I'm presented with a problem, I can't figure out a way to take care of it, right? Until I was hit with a problem that I wasn't able to fix. And that was what sent me into my depression when I was depressed. So first time I ever faced something like that, that tore me up. So when you're always a fixer, man, just when you finally find something that you absolutely cannot fix, it messes with your mental state. So
yeah, man. I be going to hoop, man. And I used to do every day, bro. I used to go in the mornings before work in my 20s and 30s, man. And I go now, and I used to be able to run circles around these. and it's not so much that it's like, oh man, I can't do what I used to, but I just start feeling bad, bro. Like I start feeling really, really sad that when I'm done. Because it's like, man, I'm like a bum out here, man. I can't do nothing.
That's why I don't even hurt my feelings like that. I don't even go to the gym to play ball, bro. I'm like, nah.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's hard for me to let it go, man. Because I mean, I can still like get out there and stay out there for a long time, but I can't perform like I used to perform. You know what I mean? I can still
do
get out
half
there.
court.
You know?
My half court game nice, but that full court, nah.
Bro, that ball be in the air, I'd be like, yeah, man, I should go get that. My body be like, man, you kidding, bro?
I'm not. Listen, I'm not trying to fall because I got to go to work on Monday. I don't have time to hurry.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, man. Before what you were saying, though, man, that's a big one right there, bro. Not being able to perform like we used to was when we were younger, man. I don't know how well women understand exactly how hard that is to come to terms with, just in everything that we do, man. But Walter, let me ask you, man, have you ever had a fear, or how does the fear of being seen as weak stop us from asking for help?
You know what? Because we are conditioned to fix it. And I'm like Mike, I'm the fix it guy for everybody. Like I don't like to talk problems. Like you tell me the problem and the next conversation is how are we going to solve this problem? Like I don't want to talk about the problem. So I think that oftentimes when I hear a problem, I'm not even looking for input or help or assistance.
Right.
Much less gonna go ask somebody to help or put in input or assistance because it's my job, duty, and obligation to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, man, I don't even, man. Y'all really hit y'all on point tonight, man. Y'all on point tonight, man. Y'all saying a lot of things that's touching nerves, brother. My shoulders is jumping, man. But I mean, Q, man, what do you think we need from like our friends, our communities, from our partners, man? What do we need like to feel emotionally safe, man, to start having some of these conversations?
I mean, it's fairly simple, like from the furthest aspect of anything deep. Like it's fairly simple. Like good encouragement, man. That's the best thing. And to let whoever you talking to or that you giving advice to, let them know like you got this, you can handle it. Like if you need anything, I'm here for you. If you need someone to talk to, if you need a shoulder, if you just need an ear, like a little encouragement goes a long way for a man. Upstanding black man. Like a little encouragement goes a long way because we take that little piece and then we thrive and we gonna knit a whole thing from that. Just that little encouragement. Okay, somebody believe in me, so let me do it for that next person. And let them know, oh yeah, I believe in you, and it's gonna continue to net. That small bit of encouragement is like what a lot of people need that don't get, because this world messed up now. Like it's all about, oh, you weak, you can't do this. Oh, you man, that was you when you was younger. You ain't got it no more. Like it's just that small bit of encouragement that lets you know, man, I can still do this and I still get it.
Man, I don't know how to explain to people how powerful that is, man. Hey, what you afraid of, man? You got it. You got it, bro. Go out. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You got it, baby. Go out there and do what you do. You know what I mean? Like that little bit of a validation, man, can do so much. I don't even know I don't know, man. I don't even know how to explain. Because we suppressing these emotions, man, and we think it's making us look strong, bro, but it's actually killing us. It is physically harming our bodies. Sickness is showing up in our bodies because of the stress that we're suppressing and holding on to. And it's not okay. It's making us sick, man. It's not making us strong. And then I'm not talking about beyond the physical. When we're talking about mental, man, brothers is really out here dying, man. You know what I mean? We out here dying.
I'm gonna have a transparent moment. For me, women always have had like community. Like my wife says she has her tribe. Her core homegirls. Whenever she going through something, she can get with them. They go talk, hang out, whatever the case may be, talk to each other. I never understood that. concept. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I can't be sitting around talking to nobody about this mess, man. You know, like the hell, you know, that's how I saw it. But now that I have a close knit group of guys that I call my community, my boys, I completely understand that concept now. You know what I'm saying? So just having other guys that I can talk to, express myself, say whatever problem I'm going through without any judgment, and to know that they go through the same stuff too, and we encourage each other, man, that's made a world of difference for
100%.
me over the last 3 years. And that was some shit that I just didn't do. I fought it being part of a community like that, you know, but I finally gave in, and I'm glad that I did. And man, it's like one of the best things that's happened to me. So I strongly suggest men can have community too. They can have their little tribe to support them, you know, that kind of thing. So it's I used to see it as something weak if I saw a guy doing it, but now I'm all about it.
Yeah, hey, let me chime in real quick. So I got a homie, I ain't gonna say his name, of course, but he called me one day, he was talking about something totally different. And he was like, man, let me get your advice on something. It's like, me and my wife, we not being, you know, intimate no more, because she's like, I'm tired of just doing that. Like, why don't we go out? Why don't we take a bath, read a book first, get some massages, you know, go to the movies, take me out to dinner, and then, you know, then we good. And he was like, how do I do that? And I was just telling him like those little simple things, you know what I'm saying? But I say that to say that him opening it up like that opened up a whole different conversation for us, you know what I'm saying? And you know, now he's straight. Now he's like, man, your advice was good, you know, as well as he gave me advice. But it's like you said, Mike, that little community that you have where you ain't gonna get clowned, like, oh man, you soft, man. Why you talking about, oh man, just beat it up? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like how you
Yeah. I think he might have froze up on us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, what he's saying is accurate, man. I'm here. You know, yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm all the guys out there, all the men in the world, man. I am trying to help you, you know, man. I'm trying to help y'all. But a lot of this is therapeutic for me. It's therapeutic for these brothers be asking me to show up on this show, man, because you know what I'm saying, the way that it makes them feel. And I feel the same way. I'm influenced by all the men that I talk to. You know what I'm saying? If I don't feel some level of influence from you, you know, I don't necessarily I don't want to have community with somebody taking my energy. So, you know, it's like, man, these brothers inspire me. I talk to them because they inspire me. I like to hear the things that they say because it pours into me. And I don't know anybody else that could do that. You know, I can't go into a room full of women and, you know, and get that same, I mean, they can pour into me in a different way, but not in the same way that, you know, as I'm listening to these brothers who validate my feelings and understand the things that I'm going through. We don't do a whole lot of chit chat before the show. You know what I mean? Like, I just ask these brothers questions as if I already know, you know what I mean, that they feel the same way or going to feel close to the same way. Or if they have an opposing view or value, they're going to tell me in a way that helps me process what I'm going through in that moment. And I say for everybody, I bet all y'all brothers feel the same way, right? When you come into this space, man, it's different. You like about to say something, Walt?
I don't know. I was just listening, man.
Yeah, no. So, man, that's what it is, man. Like, that's what it is. What Mike is talking about the value of community, and I think that's something that we might have missed when we were younger. Like, I didn't see it.
We were taught the opposite of that. We were taught the complete opposite of that.
Yeah, no new friends, bro. Stay far away from me with that stuff, man. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know, when I spoke about how we influence each other and this mindset, we had a lot of probably negative influence in our earlier lives about what it meant to connect with another man but honestly, man, like that, sometimes that's the only place you can go. You know, if you understanding that earlier in life, you know, you'll be better for it. I feel like. Let me play one more video. Hopefully Q will come back. Where is that?
We want men to heal. We have to create a safe space for men to open up, be vulnerable, be transparent, and allow. Watch this. And we cannot punish honesty.
Oh,
I'm about to get. I'm about to.
You know what? Hold on, pause.
Dude,
because here's the thing. Oh shoot, I'm about to cuss and I can't cuss.
Bro, this is revelation, man.
We can't.
The biggest reason why men don't open up is because their honesty is punished. If I tell you how I really feel about something, and you come at me with, and first of all, you use it against me in the future.
What?
Right? Come on, somebody.
What?
Every time it's convenient in an argument.
What?
Right? You constantly recycle my shortcoming that I already know is a shortcoming.
Facts.
You're punishing my honesty.
Let me say, man, one more thing about community, just based on that situation. We used to do that all the time as kids, man, lying. We punishing our own honesty. We punish honest. You think about, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, just something simple, man, or something not so simple, maybe it might make some people kind of feel away. But, you know, like when you was younger, people making fun of you if you gave any kind of indication that you was jacking off as a teenager. All of us are doing it. Oh, but we make fun of the dude that somehow, you know, some kind of way bring it out in the open, or he got caught somehow looking like he might have been doing it. Bro, everybody was doing it, man.
Man, that's even taboo conversation nowadays.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying, man. It's like, come on, bro. We need to talk, man. We need to have a talk, man. You know what I mean? Like I had that show at the top of the year about being addicted to porn.
Yeah.
I know it's brothers that ain't gonna admit that they addicted to porn or they've had problems with addiction to porn, but I know you doing it. So I'm gonna have this conversation anyway, and hopefully you feel safe enough to talk about what are some of the things that are leading you to feel addicted to anything, man. Addiction is always gonna be a form of coping in some kind of way, man. You coping. So let's talk about it, bro. Let's talk about it. You know, you ain't gotta be embarrassed because you addicted to this situation. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like little stuff like that, man. You know, guys is getting up in age, man. You know what I mean? Like what we might need them testosterone shots or something, you know, to get things don't work like they used to, man.
Yeah.
Well, how do you if you don't have conversations with brothers that's actually doing it, man, you mess around, be, you know, sticking that stuff behind your ear. You don't know what to do with it, bro. There's brothers out here that have experienced that, man, that you are walking with and in community with daily, and you scared to have a conversation with it because your honesty has been punished at some point, and you afraid to be honest about something that makes that most men are dealing with. You know, it's just a natural thing, man. And that's when Q said something about we're not performing the way we used to. Bro, that brothers, man. It's we get embarrassed from other brothers, we get embarrassed from women. Who, you know, who put us down, you know, talking about the thing ain't working like it. But man, we all go, man, we gotta do some work. Yeah. It's work that goes in keeping this thing going up into a later age, man. My uncle's right on point here though, man. We gotta be careful about what we put in our bodies. You know, he's a man that's 69 years old. And I try to go play tennis with him. He run a circle. I mean, he making me look like a damn fool out there. He's 69 years old, man. And tennis. You know, me running around looking like a damn fool, man. But I refuse to hoop with him, man. It's just embarrassing. I can't hoop with you. I'm sorry. You're not fast enough no more. Love you though, man. So yeah, man. Talk about before we close out, man. Just a little touching on, you know, creating safe spaces. You know, we talked about the problem. And that's kind of what that video was saying, man. We got to create safe spaces for men to be vulnerable, for them to be seen, heard, and valued, man. Like we got to talk about that. So when we thinking about, we kind of touched on some of it, man. But Walt, I'm gonna ask you, man, what does it actually look like for a Black man to feel seen and safe?
For me, man, it feels like and it looks like the people in my circle are happy. They're smiling. They're taken care of because I'm fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I can't speak for everybody, man, but I'm pretty simple, even though I'm difficult, if that makes sense. Like I'm a man at the core, bro. Any nuanced thing that I need or want from any relationship in my life, at the core of that, I'm a man. And we're pretty simple as far as the things that make us okay, and make us, go to do the things that we need to do. So I don't require a lot, but I require it all.
Right, right, right. And Q, man, good. Glad you came back, bro. You was on the road for
Yeah,
you blacked out, but I
my
do
bad.
want you to because I want you to kind of go down a little bit what you was going down, but instead of that surface level, you good, and you was talking about the conversation you had with your man and all of that. How do you feel like we can really support each other emotionally instead of just giving that, hey, you good, or them surface level check-ins?
I mean, the biggest thing you could do is listen. Sometimes people don't want your advice. They might want to vent and be able to show their vulnerability around you, knowing that they can trust you and have that trust factor without being clowned about it, without looking weak. And no, I know this brother is still a strong brother, and he's coming to me with this vulnerable side of him because he trusts me. Not to down him or downplay him or devalue him in any way by saying the things he's saying. So I think that's the best way we could support our counterparts, our brothers. Like, sometimes just listen. Sometimes just listen, because sometimes your advice might not be as valuable as just your ear.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think that first thing you said was so important, man. Sometimes people don't want your advice, man. Like, you're not looking to solve a problem every time. I just want you to hear me out. And that could be enough. You don't got to try to solve my problem, man. I know it might make you uncomfortable feeling like you can't solve it, or because you feel like you got the answer, but sometimes I just need you to hear me out. That's all. And we can check on each other and support each other like that. Mike, man, what do you think, man? What do you think our partners need to know about how we need to be supported?
Me personally, I need my wife to understand that I don't always know what I need at the time. I don't always know what my safe space is at that moment. We have a hard time. She feels that since we've been married for so many years, we should just be able to talk and discuss anything, any and everything. I'm still a little more reserved than that. I tell her, even though we have been married, almost 25 years, there's still certain things that I'm just not too comfortable speaking to you about right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that I won't be, but right now I'm not there. Some things are still kind of sensitive, that kind of thing. So I just need that understanding that we want to always be on the same page, simply because of the amount of years that we've been married. It's like I tell people a lot. My journey has been lately, I'm trying to find out exactly who I am instead of who I have to be for everybody else. Right. So I don't know what really makes me completely safe yet, because I haven't found that part of me yet. And that's the part I can't get her to understand. But I'm working on it, trying to be more expressive, or try to explain it to her the best way I can. But sometimes we just still don't see eye to eye on that. So that's something I'm
Mike,
personally struggling with. Yes.
I can't talk to you about
can
everything. Yeah, well, I'm about to go to you, man, because I was about to move on, but I actually want you to answer that same question or whatever thought you was going to come up with. But I just want to reiterate the part that is important. What Mike said, I want to talk to you, but I don't know how to talk about it. I can't talk to you about everything yet. It's not that I don't want to. It's just I'm not in a place where I can speak on everything that I'm feeling yet.
Right.
And I don't want you to take that personal.
Right.
It's kind of what I'm hearing,
Yeah, you put that better than how I've been able to put it. So yeah.
Well, go ahead, Walt. I was about to ask you to follow up, answer that same question, but you had another thought.
I actually had a question, and then I'll follow up, man. Mike, if you don't mind me asking, brother, how old are you?
48.
Are you in the same age group with your wife? Are you guys similar
She's 4
age?
years old. She's 4 years older.
Oh man, okay. So that's very interesting because my relationship is kind of the same thing, but reversed, right? But we have kind of almost the same age difference, like almost.
Right.
I just was curious because when you said what you said, I just heard like, man, that's my wife talking right now. You know what I mean? And I'm like the opposite of that. So, but to elaborate, I think, it's marriage is difficult. It's challenging.
Mhm.
Um, Marriage is even more challenging for Black couples in America. Anywhere on the globe. There are more dynamics added to the things we gotta traverse than there are to, a lot of other races. So with that being said, man, when you think about the nuances, you think about the topic of the show today, and how we deal with that personally behind closed doors in our marriage. It's a challenge. It's a real challenge. And we have a lot of differences. Like, I'm listening to Mike and I'm like, oh my, he sounds like my wife. As far as like being like, I'm not ready to talk about that yet. And I'm the guy like, oh, hey, we've been together 18 years. What do you mean? Like, why can't you just say it? And so, you know, I appreciate him sharing his perspective because it really enlightened me just now, like on so many levels to think about, you know, being in disagreement with my wife about her feelings in the way that she has a right to feel and that I should be sensitive about. But at the same time, it makes me think about me and vice versa, like the same thing. And I think things get lost in translation there in a marriage.
Yeah,
And
because it's
it
not personal.
becomes
It's nothing
it's
personal.
not it's not at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you pulled that out of what he said, bro. That's very important. I'm glad you grabbed onto that. Yeah, man. I think like we got to start valuing ourselves a little deeper than what we produce, and understanding that it's not just about what we bring it home or how bad we laying it down. Like I said in the bedroom, man, it's learning to deal with our emotions without shame, because being a Black man comes with a lot of shame. I'm not gonna lie to y'all.
Mhm.
It comes with a lot of shame, because we've been shamed for a lot of different things our whole lives and told that the things that we feel are not valid in a lot of
Right.
ways. And you just have to, because the world is so hard on us, that we have to be hard in the world. And that's just gonna have to be how you survive. And that's just not reality anymore. I mean, maybe it was at one point. If you got any older gentlemen in office, you can talk to that, or speak to that in the chat. But we need to create relationships that are in brotherhood and romantic relationships that allow us to be ourselves authentically all the time. You got to create those spaces, and that really starts with you. I mean, this has been one of like the realest conversations we had on the show, man. I'm really happy about this. This is the one I want you to share, man. If y'all out there, share this with a brother you think needs to hear this, man, because we obviously don't speak for our brothers. It's just four of us here, but I feel like we can get in those comments and expand this conversation to brothers that are dealing with a numerous amount of things that we might have touched on here today, man. So I want to hear from everybody, man. But this is the one you share. I feel like this is the one that that you gotta reach out to your brother and say, man, listen to these brothers talking, and see what you can get out of this. But before we go, man, Q, I'm gonna ask everybody, but I'm gonna start with you, Q. What do you feel like is one thing Black men can start doing today to feel more seen in their relationships, in their communities, in their brotherhoods, man?
Man, I don't know. The first thing that come to my mind, man, is just be professional, bro. Like we got so many young kids out here that don't care about their appearance, don't care the way they speak in front of older people. They not respectful, and they gotta start with yourself. If you don't respect yourself, you're not gonna respect nobody else. So it ain't no way you ever, if you don't respect yourself, you ain't gonna never be able to listen to your wife. God forbid you get one. You never ever gonna be able to hear your homie's feelings if you don't even respect your own. So yeah, respect yourself, man. Be professional. And when I say professional, I mean be professional with yourself. And Mike always say this too. Like you gotta be honest with yourself first. Then you'll be able to delve that out to other people. So I think that's one of the biggest things, man. Have respect for yourself. Be professional with yourself.
Yeah. Imagine where you got to be in your mind to antagonize another black man or another black woman unprovoked. Like seriously, imagine what what space you got to be in to want to attack your own like that. You know what I mean? And you just diminish the community because that's one person that you might affect that person in a way where they don't feel like they want to lift up the next brother or sister. They don't want to do it because of how you approached them and treated them in that moment when you antagonized them unprovoked, man. So yeah, I think that was a very important point, Q. Mike, man, what do you think, man? What's one thing we can do today, man?
Man, I'm reading my wife's comment on here, and she put it perfectly. And so I'm just gonna read what she said. Yeah, she said we need to start basically just speaking up, and telling what we need, how we feel. Otherwise, they just guessing, what they feel like we need. And I need to take that, in consideration myself. So I still have a hard time with that, and I have definitely been trying to work on that. So I just ask, for a little more grace, and until I get around to doing that, better. But yeah, we just need to speak up, man. Be comfortable speaking up. If it's to a spouse or a friend or somebody, man, just be comfortable enough, like I said, to speak what's on your mind. If you need to talk to somebody, it's not weak to express yourself. I'm learning that, and I know sometimes habits are hard, hard to break, but that's definitely one that we need to get in a habit of doing, is learning how to express ourselves and not seeing ourselves as weak just because we need help or want to ask for help. So
100%, man. 100%. Walt, the only one I know hanging around with mind readers. The rest of y'all, we're not mind readers, man. We're not mind readers, bro. And we don't expect y'all to be our mind readers either, man. So I basically what the good sis Kim is saying, man. You can't expect your partner to be a mind reader. You got to speak up. So thank you, Kim. I appreciate that. Walt, man, what do you say? What's one thing we can do today, man?
Hey man, listen. And I'll be honest, the question is a little bit of a trigger, a little bit, because listen, I mean, honestly, man, like we
Well,
have
you
to do
always
so
said something's
much
triggered or loaded. You always said that.
because we have to do so much. We already have to do so now, I have to do something else to I just, that's another conversation. But I'm gonna say, listen, I'm gonna say, just listen to our loved ones, listen to our surroundings, listen to our hearts, because God don't lie, man. And when he whisper in your ear, you know what I mean? You need to be open to hear it and act on it. And I think if we all did more of that, we all be closer to what it is we trying to get closer to, whatever that is for the individual.
100%, man. As I'm wrapping up, man, all the men out there that's been contributing, man, I appreciate y'all. Throw one thing out there, man. Please help. Let's be a community right now. All the brothers that have contributed in the chat. I want y'all to throw something in the chat. Throw one thing that we can do today as black men to feel more seen. Yeah, I appreciate you. Good.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, sir, Sammy. I said that.
That's it.
I said what I said.
Yeah.
I said what I said, man. The world is hard on us, man. So we got to be hard in this world, man. It's tough, bro. We already, man. We are in a fighting behind enemy lines from the gate, man. And from the gate, it's not just the oppression. I know my uncle mentioned Jim Crow and all those things. Those things definitely have a long-term effect on us, man. It's like it's not an excuse, man. That's a thing that's actually happened. And because of that, the generation that raised us to defend ourselves. You know what I mean? And protect our energy, or what's considered our masculinity. You know what I mean? And that's what we doing. Unc says, hey, work on self. Everything falls into place. Hey man, I never seen a more peaceful 69-year-old man in my life. So Whatever he say, I'm going. I aspire to be you. I aspire to be you, but fellas, listen, you're more than what you produce, man. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to be valued. And not just for what you do, man. It's like, but for who you are. You know what I'm saying? And it starts with us. We have to unlearn the silence and the suppression and the I'm good type of mindset. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen alone. Look at what we're doing here today, man. All of us are better for being present right now. All of us. Right? Healing doesn't happen alone. So we got to build spaces, which is what we doing right here. Vulnerability is the new sexy. We building a space where we can show up and be real and actually be seen. You know what I mean? We having these conversations that we might not have had otherwise. We decided to lean on each other and do that. And I'm grateful, man. I was calling these brothers and they show up and they give me exactly what I need, man. Not just for my show. I'm not here trying to get famous. I'm really out here trying to help y'all. But I'm also receiving help from myself. And these brothers show up because it makes them feel a way. That's what we need. That's what we need. You know? So listen, if the conversation resonated with you, man, I'm begging y'all to share it with somebody, man. Share it with somebody who needs to hear it. And if you want, you know, you got to show up every week, y'all, so we can expand these conversations. We want more voices, man. We want y'all to get, y'all. We want y'all brothers and your sisters too. We want y'all to get in the chat, man, and get active so we can really expand this conversation. You know, expand this conversation beyond the brothers that's on here talking. Come in here early. We start at 7 p.m. Central Time. Whatever time you in. Right now it's 8:11. So this is an hour show. Show up on time, man. I know what y'all might get the notifications late, but show up on time because this conversation needs to expand. We need as many brothers as possible so we can carry this into, you know, whoever's, you know, to the younger generation, whoever needs to hear it. Yeah, that's it for me, man. Listen, I'm happy to be here tonight. You know, reach out to me if you know what I'm saying, you have some ideas or some things that you want to talk about or things that you want to approach as black men. You can find me on Instagram at Joe Corley, or I have an Instagram for this show. Vulnerability is the new sexy. You can look at either one of them, get in them DMs, and you know, we want y'all to be a part of this situation, man. We're doing something here. All right. Y'all have a good night, man. Thank y'all for joining me. I really appreciate it. And I'll see y'all next week.
Thanks again, brother.
Thank you, Joe.